Art is too important not to share. Welcome to the Allie and Callie Artcast.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie. Welcome to the Artcast.
Yes, welcome. And it's so nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
How have you been?
Oh, good. Guess what?
What?
Maddie's married.
Wow. I know. We went to the wedding.
Yes, you were there.
We're going to the wedding.
I know. It's all going to happen next week. I know. We're recording this a little early. It's going to be a busy week, but we're excited. We're in the tail end of all the planning, and we're at that point where I just can't wait till it's happening. I was going to say over,
right.
But happening.
Right.
Yes, I'm really excited for the whole thing. And
Kristen and I will be there to help early.
Thank you. And I'm going to have a couple other people help. So
good.
It's going to go great.
It is going to go
I'm
great.
I'm very excited. How about
Good.
you? You just went to Virginia.
I did. We celebrated my sister's 60th birthday.
She's just a baby.
And then I flew right home and we celebrated my son Byron's 40th birthday.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I always tell people I was 3 when I had him.
That's right. Well, you're a freak of nature.
I am a freak of nature. I don't think anybody's going to argue that one.
Well, happy birthday, Byron.
Yes, happy birthday, Byron.
And your sister.
And Samantha.
Yeah. So it was fun to see family, I'm sure.
It was.
Yeah.
And it was nice to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
A little weird thing happened at the Atlanta airport, which I feel like that was really appropriate because Atlanta airport has always given such a bad rap. Mm-hmm. I got on the train to go from one gate or from one concourse to the other.
Yeah.
And one of the doors on the train wouldn't shut.
Oh,
and
so
we were stuck on the train for like 15 minutes, and there were people on the train panicking.
Oh,
that they weren't going to make their gate in time. I made mine in time just fine. I think everybody was okay, but it was kind of weird to have that. Yeah, a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, nobody needs that.
Nobody needs
I
that.
hope they fix that.
So then I went to the Sky Club.
Oh, and then everything was
had
better.
A drink and everything was better.
Everything's better. That's good. We like the Delta Sky Club.
I know.
Bing, bing, Delta Sky Club.
That's
You
right.
could be a sponsor.
You have to be a Sky Club member to get in the club. And yeah, we could go on and maybe talk to Delta about being a sponsor.
They should.
They should
sponsor us.
They should. And then we could go to Italy.
That's right. See, we've got to manifest this dream. It's going to happen.
We're going to make it
We're going to
happen.
call Delta.
No. This weekend the weekend this airs is Art Walk.
Oh, that's right. It is Art Walk.
Yeah.
It's tonight.
It's tonight.
Yes.
August
when this
14th.
Airs. Yes. So make sure you go 5 to 8. Look for the yellow balloons.
It's a
good night out.
It's a really good night out. And if you haven't been to Modus Fine Art Gallery, you need to check it out. It was formerly the Art Spirit Gallery, but they've done a lovely job. It's a nice collective of artists there.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's a great night out.
And all the galleries. It's just great.
Yeah, and go to Mix It Up Gift.
Right.
And Mix It Up Home.
Yeah, and Emerge.
And Emerge.
And Coeur d'Alene Galleries.
Coeur d'Alene Gallery. I mean, we could go on and on.
We could go on and
on.
on.
But I can't remember them all.
Me either.
And they could become sponsors.
What? Art galleries don't have any money.
They don't. I know. What am I saying? I'm out of my mind. Let's talk about our guests. I'm so excited to have Liz Thorpe in our house, in our studio today.
Yes, me too.
And she is a fabulous dancer, art enthusiast, great stage mom, I will say. You really are. Who was a fabulous showgirl in Vegas.
That's right. Thank you for being here, Liz.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for asking me. Well,
Absolutely.
actually, I think I foisted myself onto you at Lake City Playhouse fundraiser.
That's right.
We saw you.
Said, why haven't I been on the show?
I know, and she needs to be on.
And the light bulbs went off.
I was like, we haven't had a showgirl on.
No,
that's right.
I'm kind of a rarity anymore in real life, not just in Coeur d'Alene.
That's
so,
true. But
thank you.
We're so excited.
Well, first off, I need to just put a plug in for our new sponsor, Delta.
Yeah,
I am I'm a Delta devotee, and I too love a Sky Club.
Okay, there you
yes.
Okay.
It has definitely changed the travel game for this traveler.
There you go.
Yeah,
It definitely has.
Yeah, thank you. And anyway,
Well,
so
okay.
all right. So back to
to
me.
Liz.
Yeah, back to you. Let's
to
talk
me.
about
Yes.
you. I want to know, what is a showgirl?
Okay, well, a true showgirl is more of a mannequin, a walking mannequin.
A walking mannequin.
A walking mannequin. In the past, they were not required to have any dance training at all.
Really?
They had to be able to walk and carry themselves beautifully. Navigate a very steep flight of stairs.
Yes.
Sometimes this is very difficult. Maybe do a little pivoting, but a model, if you will.
Okay.
And they came about in our country, in at least the Vegas showgirl was preceded by the Ziegfeld Follies.
Oh, sure.
I've got it written down.
Okay. What year was that? In the 20s?
1907.
Oh, earlier. Wow.
To 1936.
Oh.
Wow.
And they, in New York City, and they took them directly from Paris. They took a page from the Parisian Folies and the shows that they were putting on. Of course, Ziegfeld had boatloads of money, so they were one minor detail of a Ziegfeld show. As you know, Fanny Bryce came from that world. And it's interesting because when I was performing, I had a grandmother that had gone blind. And we brought her to hear the show that I was in. And I opened up the program, and I went through every single number, and I described my costumes. I had 13 costume changes in this particular show. It was about a 2-hour show, and it was all it was at the MGM Grand, so it was all movie musicals dating back from the 30s, the 40s, and forward. And so I really brought it to life for her. And of course, they had a full orchestra playing all these beautiful songs, these show tunes. And she said, Elizabeth, it sounds like when I got to see the Ziegfeld Follies in New York.
Oh, wow.
And she described these women placed all around the theater, just standing draped in exquisite fabrics, draped in jewels and plumage. And I said, Granny, that's exactly it. As a matter of fact, the name of the showroom was called the Ziegfeld Room, the Ziegfeld Theater. So that was really fun to think about her seeing this in her day, and probably in the she didn't know exactly what year, but she was born in the turn of the century. Yeah, so it was probably maybe 1925, right? Because she lived in New York City at that time, 1925 to 1935. So that was pretty fun to be able to share that. Now, the iconic Las Vegas showgirl became a part of the vernacular in the late 1950s. The Stardust opened probably 1958. And at that time, the French Parisian shows were all the rage in France. Right. So they thought, what are we going to do to get people to come to Las Vegas? We need a gimmick. Somebody decided, let's bring a version of the Lido de Paris to the Stardust Hotel. And it opened in 1959. And it was mostly European girls. There was a line of dancers called the Bluebells that had been traveling all over Europe, and it was a gal named Margaret Kelly who was a former dancer, and during the war years ended up putting together a line of dancers, much like the Rockettes. Right. Well, she became the go-to provider of beautiful, tall. A Kelly girl could not be under 5'8". Ooh. They had to have long legs, a long neck, short torso, much like a ballet dancer. But you've got to know that most of these dancers are beautifully trained ballet dancers, but they're too tall. Because once you get on the point shoes, like I brought you the example of, that adds 3 inches. Right. Yeah. So if you're 5'8", 5'9", not too many guy dancers have the height required. So
Right.
anyway,
Oh, sure.
she became the go-to. So she provided all these beautiful dancers. I think that cast probably was close to 100 when it opened.
Wow.
And I'd say 3/4 of that were beautiful, long-legged European showgirls, many of which are still there. I still go to reunions for the Lido de Paris, and they have some gals that show up, and they're in their 80s and 90s, and they come with their lashes and their glamour. And I actually was taking ballet class this morning on Zoom with one of the original gals that came from England. Her daughter is a ballet teacher, and we've been together since COVID. It's one of the good things that came out of COVID was I take ballet. We call it soft ballet, but it's really old lady ballet. and we've been doing it ever since COVID. We have our Monday, Wednesday, Thursday classes, and Allison's mom is still in she's not taking class with us, but she's around, and she ended up when she retired, she opened a dance studio because it's what you do, right? When you're a former dancer, you open a dance studio. So that's what started this influx of beautiful, tall, the traditional showgirls. And of course, what do the casinos do? Monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah,
of course.
Oh,
Well,
the Dunes said we need
girls.
we need one. So they did Casino de Paris. Then the Tropicana said we need one, and they did the Folie Bergère, which I closed the Lido de Paris. I worked for the longest I ever worked in any show was in the Folie Bergère. It opened the year I was born, 19 blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No, it was it opened in 1959, and it closed the year I turned 50, and I was there closing night. I wasn't there at that time, but that's where a lot of these shoes are from.
Right.
There was just a bevy of beautiful girls at any given time. There was plenty of jobs for those girls that just were too tall for the ballet company, and it's gone. They're gone. There isn't one show left.
Not
one show left. Well, what happens is, of course, they want to mix it up, and Cirque du Soleil came on the scene.
Oh yeah.
And then what
It's
did the
different.
next casino say? Oh,
We need that.
We need a Cirque show. We need a Cirque show. We need a Cirque show. So slowly but surely, all these shows, or the hotel that they were in, were imploded. I worked at the Dunes. It's gone. It's gone.
Oh,
I
right.
worked at the Stardust. It's gone. I worked at the Tropicana. It's gone. I think the only one that I worked in as a true showgirl was Flamingo Hilton. Is still there, but it's probably named something else. I don't know. That sounds unrecognizable.
Yeah.
But things kind of go in cycles. So
Right.
I'm hoping that
It'll come back.
that the Cirque du Soleil ship has sailed. I mean, they've
done everything. What's left?
What's left?
Aliens.
I mean, they are amazing. They're amazing.
They are.
They're amazing.
Right.
But you know what? Hopefully, it'll come back around where it'll be. Hey, I've got a novel idea.
Yeah.
Let's do a traditional showgirl show, and I will say that there are differences between the dancers and the showgirl. I don't like I said, they were mannequins, meaning that they just walked and danced, could hold their arms out, maybe do a pas de bourrée, which you know how to do.
I know pas de bourrée.
You know pas de bourrée.
I know my pas de bourrée.
You know your pas de bourrée. A step touch, but they'd always have a line of those. And I mean 6 foot. They wanted you 6 feet and above.
I would never be a showgirl.
I pulled pictures out because people are like, Liz, you're so tall, and I'm like, of course you are a showgirl. I'm like, oh no, I'm not. I mean, I might look statuesque in some stiletto heels, but not for that. I've got pictures in my phone. I'll show you. There's 6. I've worked with girls that were 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", and stunning. stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I try not to get my knickers in a twist, if you will, if I'm called a showgirl, but really I was a dancer. I started out as a dancer. I became what's called an adagio dancer, which you know what that is.
Yeah.
It's when you have a partner and you're featured. It's just you on stage, basically, and a lot of lifts.
And you did
of
that in
spinning.
Vegas,
yes,
right?
Yes, yeah. A lot like the pair skaters do, right?
Sure,
That kind of, it's very, very physical. So I had a partner that I danced with.
Where did you
almost-
train?
Well, I was raised in Southern California. I trained in San Diego, moving to Carson City, Nevada in the middle of the 8th grade. San Francisco's right over there. I got to spend a couple summers in San Francisco training with the San Francisco Ballet. So out of high school, I turned pro in a small regional company that we had in Northern Nevada. And then realizing one of the girls that I went to ballet school with had gotten hired for one of these shows. And she wasn't very good.
Oh,
No, but she was 5'10"
Ooh.
and gorgeous. Like, you know, when you're a kid, it's kind of lost on you. And I thought, wow, if she can do it, I can do it. And I didn't know anything about this show. So they were building it at the MGM. They were building an MGM Grand in Reno. So I was in Carson City at the time. And I hunted down whoever was in charge. It took me a lot to find out, because it was just being built, and they rehearsed for months and months, of course.
Yeah.
And I needed where there's a will, there's a way. I ended up getting the director, his very famous man named Don Arden. Don with 2 N's, by the way. And I ended up was getting passed from person to person to person. Call this number, call that. We don't know. Call this, call. I ended up with his home phone number. He was very irritated that I was bothering him at home.
But you got the job, right?
And he said, "Well, the show is cast, but they're always going to need extras. So why don't you just show up at the first day of rehearsal?
Oh.
and we'll give you an audition." And all he remembered was that I'm from Carson City, because I must have said it on the phone a few times. I'm from Carson City. I'm from Carson. Well, keep in mind that once again they had all these European girls coming, and I was basically the turd in the punch bowl, right? Because one of these things is not like the other. And that was me in my pink tights and ballet shoes and my hair in a bun. And I walk in, and here are these glamour girls with the silver high heels and the fishnets and the leotards rolled up sky high and the lashes on, fake lashes for rehearsal. Like they were,
They went.
I thought, oh boy. Oh boy, I'm a fish out of water. But I said, "Excuse me, can somebody tell me where Mr. Arden is?" And he was like God on high in the theater, sitting at a table way up there. And where all the peons are down here. And I just marched my little Carson City ass up there and said, "Hello, Mr. Arden. I'm Liz. I'm the one from Carson City." And you know what? And he goes, "Oh, it's you." And he said, "Well, just get down there. Just get down there. Just jump in." And this was at the time, and I think it still holds true, this was the world's largest stage that they built at the MGM Grand in Reno.
Oh, really?
It even dwarfs Radio City Music Hall.
Wow.
Really? If you've ever seen that stage, it's enormous. And if you're in New York, go take the tour of Radio City. It's super iconic and so informative.
Right.
And you get to go on stage and watch the elevators sink and slide. The next one comes in, and like I was like little gobsmacked. So I think he found me endearing because I didn't know what he was talking about. He'd unroll these blueprints of what was going to happen. It's just a shell. The hotel was just a shell. So I couldn't even imagine. And I saw this Adagio team, one of the star dancers, doing some moves, and I looked at them And this girl did this move where she wound around the guy's neck, put her feet on his chest, and she stood up, and he was just leaning back. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what I did. And I told him, I'm going to be a principal for you someday. And he goes, all right, Carson City, get back down there and get to work.
Oh,
so
there
I
you
did.
go. You got the job.
Yeah, I got the job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Need shirts, hats, signs, or stickers?
If you can dream it, Pyramid Printing can print it.
For over 25 years, Pyramid Printing has been a Coeur d'Alene favorite for screen printing, embroidery, banners, and more.
Big job, small job, no problem. Just give Eric a call and let the local pros take it from there.
Email info@pyramidprintingcda.com or call 208-664-0254 or visit pyramidprintingcda.com.
Pyramid Printing, printing made easy and done right.
What makes a school great? It's not the building, it's not the schedule, it's not even the curriculum. It's the people and how they treat one another. That's why conversations matter. Every day, podcasts bring people together through stories, ideas, and shared experiences. In many ways, that's the same work the Ovation Company does in schools. Since 2006, the Ovation Company has worked side by side with educators across North America, helping schools create positive climate and culture where kindness, empathy, and respect aren't just words, they're lived experiences. Through assemblies, workshops, staff development, keynotes, and student leadership programs, the Ovation Company is in schools every day, helping students and educators build stronger connections and healthier communities. Because a healthy environment is a productive environment. The Ovation Company, standing up for what is right and good. Visit ovationcompany.com for more information.
Well, before we started recording, you were telling us the story and showing us this massive amount of shoes that you wore during those days and the process. And why don't you talk about that again? Because I thought it was fascinating.
Well, once again, I do understand why these shows are going to be a thing of the past is because the millions and millions of dollars that went into the feathers, the rhinestones, that when you open a new show, of course, everybody knows who Bob Mackie is.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had Bob Mackie.
You've had Bob Mackie?
Fit
Wow.
a costume on me. And I don't know how many people can say that. They would send you to the shoemaker and they would measure your feet, do a trace around it, probably a couple dozen measurements. And then you'd come back about a week later, they would have a shoe at the ready for you. And like I showed you, they're still holding up. I could probably get a fair amount of wear and tear out of them. They just don't. Sorry, Capezio's now all made in China.
I know.
So,
they're not. I mean, they're not as good as they used to be. Good,
but to have Bob Mackie explaining his process and just it was pretty exciting. I worked with him when I very first moved to Las Vegas to do another new show. Mm-hmm. That was the one in Reno, segued into the opportunity to open the latest and greatest MGM show that was called Jubilee, and it was magnificent. Not as big, believe it or not, as the one in Reno. This cast was 135. And the one up in Reno was probably 155. So many jobs. Yeah. If you think about that, those are just the performers. Think about the wardrobe. Think about the scenery. Think about the stage crew, the day crew that has to keep it all maintained.
Right.
Amazing amount of work for everyone. So this particular show was very close to being open. We were just doing the lighting, which takes forever. All the costumes were done and fitted, and I remember you really needed to be there when Bob Mackie was doling out the Showgirl costumes, because every single one was different. And in the finale, which was just all there were, I think, 4 groups of girls that were in jewel tones. there was the emerald, there was sapphire, there was ruby, there were diamonds, there were anyway, I knew that I was going to miss the fitting day because I was going out of town for my brother's wedding. I thought I'm going to end up with not that there's a bad costume, but not the most opulent.
Right.
Because he'd say, nope, you put this on, nope. He knew what he was visualizing. So I thought, well, them's the breaks, right?
Yeah.
I missed the day, serves me right. But when I got back the next day, I was so excited because he said, Liz, I saved your costume for you.
I bet.
And because he
had a
tried,
vision.
and all the other girls, I was an Emerald in the Emerald group, and all the Emerald girls wanted it. They were like, "Oh, let me try that. Liz isn't here. I'm going to put it on." And he's like, "Nope. So that was probably like, what a win. And I remember asking him how much the rhinestones cost. Now on our G strings, there'd be one huge stone in the middle, and then smaller stones going out to the sides, right? And then you hook them up here on the left, always on the left. And he said that stone in the middle was $125.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
And then each subsequent stone was smaller. So this was going down to the 75, down to 50, down to, and think of 100 G-strings. I think when the Showgirl group I was in with the finale obviously got the best, but that always stuck out.
Yeah.
You know, I was always like, hey, how much? And of course he knew exactly. As a matter of fact, I just saw an interview with his assistant, and she wrote a book called Stars in Their Underwear by Diana Eden. I've got to go order it.
Yeah.
So if anybody has interest, she's
fun.
delightful.
Yeah.
And talks a lot about this show in particular, because what happened is one night they sent us home early and said, listen, we're doing great. We're going to open in 3-4 days. You don't have to come in until 4:00 tomorrow. And we're like, we're going out. Woo! So we all got dressed up, went out to dinner, partied it up because we didn't have to get up. Rehearsals were usually at 9, and the phone rings the next morning, and it's my roommate's mom saying, oh, thank God you're alive. And she's like, what are you talking about? She said, your hotel's on fire. And this was November 21st, 1980, and it was, to this day, probably one of the worst fires that has ever happened in the United States in a hotel. And really changed a lot of laws, the way they do construction now. Bob lost his shoe person she was up really early got trapped in an elevator. Most people, they didn't burn, they died of smoke inhalation.
Right. Oh my gosh.
It happened at 5:00, and I think 5:00 in the morning. Something happened in one of the restaurants, and that was in the very back of the hotel, and this fireball just swept all the way through the casino and blew out the front doors. And if you think about the length, a couple football fields, this thing, that's a lot. And this is back in the 80s, so it was a lot of dark red flocked, you know, the flocked wallpaper and the gold sconces. Such class, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty opulent back then, but all that stuff was plastic. And when that heat hit it, it just went toxic. It was toxic too. So to have that few people die is a miracle because of the time of day.
Right.
People mostly got panicked. They got locked outside their hotel room and couldn't see. And
so you were in the hotel?
No, I was not in the hotel.
Because she didn't have rehearsal.
No, we didn't. We just gotten an apartment, and we could see the MGM Grand. My roommate, Catherine, by the way, Catherine Bedford.
I know Catherine.
Yeah. She moved up here. She followed me up here, of course. We had an apartment where we could see perfectly, and it looked like an atom bomb. This huge column with this mushroom cloud on the top. And I just looked at her and said, we're not going to work for today or for a very long time.
Yeah.
It took probably, the hotel was probably closed for 6 months.
Wow.
So it was pretty devastating, which not that many people know about that, but they lost all the costumes from smoke damage and from water, because the dressing rooms were in the basement. And of course, they got flooded with
the water.
And this gal that wrote this book talks about since was not open yet and a brand new show, they had taken every rhinestone from Swarovski had made. It took them, a year to manufacture all of the stones, and they couldn't duplicate them. So they had to take them apart and wash them.
Oh, boy.
Take off the backing. There's a mirror backing, and by hand they redid every single rhinestone.
Wow!
So we're covered in these beautiful chains and that necklace there. Luckily, all the feathers were a complete loss.
Right.
Everything was almost everything was a complete loss. But they had to save the stones.
Yeah.
And then of course they couldn't duplicate a lot of the more exotic feathers that I'm sure they would not be allowed to use anymore.
Right.
Egrets and things. Because a lot of those birds lost their life for.
So this is actually a real bird feather?
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is ostrich. Is ostrich. So
that's so cool.
So being able to be a part of that whole iconic time was pretty fabulous because it was just really special.
So did you work with anyone in particular that you just loved, that was famous?
Well, I did not, but of course our paths crossed. Oh yeah, we got to party with rock stars and royalty and because who didn't want a bevy of beautiful girls at parties, right? The phone would ring and they'd say, "Hey, the Showgirls get free appetizers and free wine at such and such a restaurant after the shows." Then they would call the card rooms. A card room is where the dealers would have their break. And they'd call all the card rooms around town and say, "Hey, the Follies girls are going to be at Port Tack tonight." so that would get the men in to buy the drinks, and they had a lot of shows towards the end of my career. They were bringing star policy. They bring in a star and fit them into these big extravagant shows. Suzanne Summers was one. Catherine got to be one of Suzanne Summers' backup dancers. And then they do a 20-minute act, right?
Sure.
Jim Neighbors was one of them. Gosh, was it, I think, Lola Falana, Carol Channing, they even brought in. And they would incorporate them into an opening number and the finale, and then they'd give them their act. That was a smart way to spin it. So that people could see a headliner and see all the opulence of these shows. I didn't get a chance to be a part of those shows, but I've been sawed in half a time or two. I got to be a magician's assistant. And a few.
Did they cut you in half?
Oh heck yeah! I know and it's sometimes in quarters. I got to do that quite a few times because I ended up being what's called a principal when I was that adagio dancer. And they are only on stage, like in a 2-hour show, I would do typically 4 numbers. When I was a chorus girl, I was doing 13 numbers. So you got a lot of time on your hands.
What do you do?
I was up to mischief.
I'm sure you were.
Oh my gosh, girl. You just don't want a Liz with time on her hands. There was, I got
the late night, Allie and Callie.
That's late night. That's late night.
Late night talk.
Yeah, I told my husband, I got some stories, but I don't know if they're appropriate for this venue here. But I would oftentimes volunteer to help. The magician that came in, or just because I liked them, and or fill in different numbers where they were, just because I like being busy. There's a good example of this because we had a TV and a VCR in my dressing room. This is back when we had VCRs, and we were doing a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers number, and they had the beautiful turntable with all the Busby Berkeley with all the chorus girls and their fans, and the mirror would come down and tilt. So I mean, beautiful. And it was a very long intro is basically what it is. So I've been in the show for a couple years. I know where we are in the music, right? And somebody says to me, "Liz, shouldn't you be on stage?" And I said, "I've been in this show how long?" And I went,
"Oh crap."
So I stuck my head outside where I could hear the actual music going on, not just from the monitors. And I went, oh, I missed my entrance.
Oh, boy.
Fred Astaire enters over here, Ginger Rogers, and then we run in together and we meet and we spin and off we go, dance, dance, dance. I missed the good 30 seconds, 40 seconds of, I mean.
Long enough.
Way too, but God bless my partner. Now, most people, like if that had happened to me, I would just improvise.
Yeah,
just start
right.
dancing. I'm Ginger Rogers. But he was not
The improviser.
He was not the improviser. So he's doing the choreography
Without-
as if I was there. He's lifting me up. He's putting me down. He's swinging me. He's dipping me. So he's got this imaginary partner because he just knew I was going to show up.
It would happen.
But he knew I was going to show up. And if he was just freestyling over here, we wouldn't know where we were in the music. God bless him. So I come running. My dressing room's on stage right. My entrance is on stage right. And I'm yelling, I'm coming. So he knew I was coming, and I just literally flew into his arms and spin, spin, spin. Good. I know. I think about it. Probably 50% of that number's over. Yeah. So we get the ending down, and then we finish and get off stage, and he's spitting nails at me. What the hell were you doing? And I didn't want to tell them that I was looking for a specific dance part on a VCR that I'd recorded. So I was busy with the TV and the remote.
Yeah.
And so I said, the zipper broke. Which of course is what you always say, the zipper broke.
Of course.
So I get changed, we go on stage, and this is what I tell the company manager that watches every show.
Yeah.
Right. Comes back, here's the
what
story.
the heck?
And they know better.
Yeah.
I don't think they even looked at the zipper, but they do go and they ask my dresser. So, was the zipper break? And of course, she's a sweet little Asian gal. Burst into tears. And her name was Shu Mao. And I said, "Oh, Shu, I'm so sorry." I remember vividly. I got fined $50.
Oh, that's not bad.
For missing the number.
That's not bad.
But I got $50 for lying about it. No, $100 back then.
Okay, that's a lot.
That was a lot of money.
And I don't think it was really legal, but it didn't matter. You paid it.
Yeah.
And then I had to go up to the wardrobe with a very large basket of goodies, of mea culpas, because you know, you can't throw wardrobe. You can't have wardrobe
take it
mad
for
at
you.
Right.
You know? Not a good idea.
So, but that was one of the times that I got fined. I got fined for a few things. And the assistant company manager said when he was bored, he would just go look through my file. And this was back when it was pretty loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
You know.
Is there a union?
Not for dancers.
Not for dancers. Interesting.
No, they couldn't afford it.
Oh,
Molly.
yeah, that's
because you know, we were walking up spiral staircases.
Oh my gosh,
we're going up on a living curtain.
Oh yeah.
There's things dropping down out of the ceiling. If a union would be like, okay, that's extra money, that's extra money, that's extra money, and they wouldn't be able to afford it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I got that.
Yeah.
Even
That makes sense.
I did get approached a time or two about helping to form a dancers union.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
They're like, Liz, do this.
Get Liz.
She'll do it.
I thought, no, we're going to just zip it on this one,
Yeah.
because I really do understand that was never a dull moment. Never.
Right.
And it was really fun because there wasn't an HR.
Yeah.
You know, there was no HR.
Yeah.
I mean, the showgirls that didn't have hard jobs like I did were, you know, boozing it up in between shows. And they would give them free drink tickets to go dress up the bar. Yeah, girls, here, go out to the casino.
Right.
And look beautiful. And give them free drinks. But they wouldn't give the boys free drink. So isn't that funny?
No,
that
is
wouldn't happen.
funny.
And of
That
course,
wouldn't happen.
You could hear the blender going, you know, making the margaritas. margaritas. And,
man.
but until one of the girls overdid it and fell off the staircase. You know.
You gotta.
It's all fun and games.
I was
Until
going to
someone gets
ask,
hurt.
was anybody a little loopy when they got back out there?
Yeah, they did eventually crack down.
Any
on-
costume malfunctions?
Oh, yeah. And I know people probably want to know, were you a topless showgirl?
That's right. I was going to mention that.
It's part of the job.
Right.
It is part of the job. And the showgirls typically are not topless in every single number.
Right.
Right.
But that is part of the job. As a dancer, you typically have a choice. You have a choice as to whether or not you want to be in the covered line or just the dancer line, which it's funny because a lot of the dancers always start out saying, I could never do that. I could never be a topless dancer. And then a year into it, they're like,
okay.
look at how pretty those costumes are that those girls get to wear. And there's a money component.
I was going to say, they must get paid
money
more.
Component, and
Sure.
you go, you know what? You realize my parents couldn't pick me out in the first show I was in. I said, okay, I'm 17th from the left in the kick line.
Find
Literally, when
me.
we had a kick line that was 50, 60 girls strong, and I'd always give them a little wave like this. At the end, we're posed, and I'd go, I'm over here, you know. But we all looked identical.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was the whole idea. But I did have a beautiful beaded outfit on that was a bra and G-string, and the bra was so heavy with just laden with these amazing crustaceans of dangling pearls, and the elastic broke and it just dropped around my waist. I thought, well,
there you go.
here we go. I just undid it and I flung it into the wings, and that number became a little more naked than it was intended.
Right.
But it was, nobody seemed too horrified.
No.
Yeah.
I was telling you girls earlier that when I was an adagio dancer, that we were doing a classical ballet piece. And, I trained my whole life for that. And then they said, oh, here's your costume. And there's no top. And I was balking, going, it started out very covered. But as the number progressed, you're down to this, a G-string and a choker and point shoes. And I'm like, do I have to? And the director said, oh, Liz, do you have a hard time with this? I go, well, to me, it really was sacrilegious to mix the two. You can try to call it art, but this wasn't. And he said, I totally understand. You don't have to. I'm going to go talk to the understudies.
and all of a sudden.
I said,
wait a
just
minute.
pulled my covers, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I said, I get it. And the nice thing was, though, they made a little costume for me when my mother came.
Oh, that is nice.
Because she was horrified. She wanted me to be with the Royal Ballet. She was British.
Yeah.
So to go from that to, tits and ass.
Yes, yeah.
So that was pretty great. Although the first time she saw the show, she was sitting by herself in the King's Row in the best seat in the house. It was the boss's booth. And I get a call from over the PA, Liz, come to the office, Liz. And the boss says, did you put your mom up to that? And I go, up to what? And he goes, she ordered a bottle of Cristal. Like it was the most expensive thing on the menu, on the whole thing, like in the whole place, and I was horrified.
Oh my God.
I said no, and I said I'm going to pay for it. And he goes, you don't have to. But when I retelling this story, I hope I didn't give her shit about it.
Mom.
That's really reserved of you, because I would have totally given my mother shit about that.
I know, but you know what? As a mature woman now,
It's
I'd be
like,
oh, just let her have it, and think that she really deserves it.
So, Liz, when was your last show in Vegas, and why was it your last show?
Oh gosh, Allie, I'd still be on stage if I could.
Really?
I loved every minute of it. I did. And they basically had to get the hook and pull me off stage because I was almost 5 months pregnant with my daughter.
Yeah.
Yes.
I bet they didn't like having a pregnant.
No, and it's funny because it was a show called Enter the Night, and that was in 1990. No, 99. I'm sorry, 99.
I was like,
Danny was born in 99. And my boss had gone on vacation, and he thought I had a hard out. But the girl that I was training her, you didn't normally have to do that, but I was assistant line captain, so you teach the new girl the show, and she wasn't very quick, which was fine with me. And he comes back after being gone for weeks, and he's like, "You're still here? What are you doing here?" Like, "Oh my God, you pregnant girls drive me crazy." And that was my last night, and it was a big show. It was at the Stardust. They replaced the Lido de Paris with one called Enter the Night, kind of hipped it up. But one of the girls took a marker and drew the word baby on my belly, and I just let it all hang out. So big, and because normally you can kind of hide in a big show. You can kind of,
right.
You go in the back row, and you know what numbers not to go. They had a passerella that it's a little passageway that cuts through the audience. So
I
like,
see.
Keep Liz off the passerella. But I never went back after that.
So you went on stage with the word baby on your belly?
Yeah. Yeah, and an arrow pointing. Yeah, because and I saw somebody in the audience go to her husband, "Hey, I knew that, but that was the last show." And you know, my husband, he was a trumpet player in all these shows.
Yeah.
So I came out of Vegas with a really excellent husband, and our daughter was born there.
Yeah,
and then we hightailed it out of there. We went to Los Angeles for about 5 years. He was wanting to pursue film music, so that got us out of there. And I knew if I didn't get out of there, I would keep working, and I really wanted to really be hands-on with this baby. I just wanted to be all in.
And she's a fabulous dancer.
Well,
also,
Danny. She came to the party late.
Yeah.
I never pushed her. I was 40, so I danced from 18 to 40.
That's wow.
And that's a very long.
That
not
is.
a very, really long. I got to travel in there too. I got to see the world, and that's another part of the equation that's gone, because back when I was dancing, you want to go to Barcelona, you want to go to South Africa, you want to go to Paris, where do you want to work? I mean, the world was our oyster. Margaret Kelly, the Bluebell, had shows everywhere.
Wow.
Everywhere. So I took advantage of that. And then I met my Silver Valley boy, and he was a trumpet player in the shows, but a smart one, because he saw what was happening. The musicians were union, but they weren't very smart. And they got themselves negotiated right out of a gig, and they started putting all the live music. All the shows had huge orchestras, and they went, and this is when the mob was going away. The corporations took their red felt tip pen and went, nope, we can put that on tape. That's when Nick got into the recording arts, because he went, I think I better learn how to do this.
Right.
So he's still in the business.
Yeah.
He bought a recording studio and learned from the ground up.
Wow.
And had always been writing and arranging in high school and college and such. So anyway, that's how we ended up here, was after 5 years in LA. It's like, okay, where are we going? I wanted to go back to northern Nevada, where my family was, but his parents were still alive at the time, and grandparents are always going to win. So so that was it was a
and
good
we
move.
like it when grandparents win.
Speaking as a grandparent.
I can't believe it, girls.
I
But
know.
that was 22 years ago, and I teach. I have no other skill set. I just don't. I tried to go back to college many times. I just don't.
Well, you're good at what you do, and you're a great supporter of the arts.
Oh, absolutely.
You're always out there.
The phone rings, and there's always stuff to do and to support, and people have the craziest choreographic needs, right? It's like, call Liz. She'll do it.
She'll do
I
it.
love that.
So that's kind of fun. It's never a dull moment. I've been to the theater like every weekend for, it seems like, month,
Yeah.
You can't stop until, I don't know, summer theater's over. And then, of course, I heard the interview with Paisley.
Inspired, Crazy for You.
Crazy for You. I kind of call myself anything for a buck. But I teach at Northern Dance,
Right.
where Paisley does. I take classes into a lot of the private Christian schools, and I love the littles. They're so delicious.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
They're cute.
Yeah,
That's
took me a
fun.
minute to make friends with that, but now I can fix everything.
You can.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful.
If Liz can't do it, no one can.
That's right.
That's right.
Just
Well,
call.
you are such a character. I love your stories. This is so
I
much
got a
fun.
million of them.
I know.
I got
Yeah.
a million of them, but
We're going to go hear some more over wine sometime.
course.
because
indeed, I told you, girls, I want to be in your friend group.
Oh, you are.
Well,
this-
thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
you bet.
Thank you so much.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to
I don't
promote while
know.
I'm here besides Delta.
Delta. Shout out to our new
and
sponsor.
mix it up. I just love
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Of
So
course,
there
of
you
course.
go.
Yeah. All right, girls. I'll
Thank
be
you
quiet.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Say hello to
Nice
Nick
I
and
will.
Denny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will do.
And don't forget to like, follow, share, or subscribe to the Allie and Callie Artcast at
AllieCallieArtcast.com.
That's right, because we like it when you listen.
Yes.
It makes it more fun for us knowing that somebody's hearing what's going
Well,
on.
and you meet and listen to fabulous people like Liz Thorpe.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So I'm Allie.
and I'm Callie, and whatever you do today, make sure it's creative.
And maybe do a little dance.
Yeah.
The Allie and Callie Artcast is sponsored in part by Scraps Barbecue, a locally owned catering company, the Ovation Company, getting back to basics of shared learning and human connection, and Pyramid Printing, a Coeur d'Alene favorite for over 2 decades.